Less than 12 hours to go before a dramatic deadline set by U.S. President Donald Trump expires, global attention is now on what happens next. Trump has warned that a whole civilization in Iran will die tonight if an ultimatum expires. But Iran shows no signs of backing down. It has rejected both Washington's demand and a proposed temporary ceasefire. Amid rising rhetorics, tensions have escalated in West Asia. A report by Wall Street Journal says U.S. military has hit 50 military targets on the Karg Island, Iran's strategic oil hub. This targeted action marks a severe expansion of the ongoing military confrontation in the Persian Gulf. The attack comes after Trump said last weekend that he is considering whether U.S. forces could seize the island. The IRGC has issued a warning to the U.S. and its allies following the U.S. island. It has threatened to deprive the United States and its allies of oil and gas if Washington crossed Tehran's red lines. It says that restraint is over, sparking fresh concerns over a severe disruption to regional crude supplies. Karg Island serves as Iran's main oil export terminal. It handles up to 90% of its crude shipments and offering storage capacity of around 30 million barrels. Located about 26 kilometers off Iran's coast and 483 kilometers northwest of the Strait of Hormuz. The Karg Island is often dubbed the Forbidden Island due to its isolation and heavy security presence. Last month, the U.S. struck military targets on the island. The strikes destroyed naval mine storage and missile bunkers, while oil infrastructure was largely spared. Hours before the deadline, Israel launched widespread waves of attacks across Iran. Israeli strikes across Iran have targeted all transportation routes, railways, bridges, and major highways. Israel has attacked railway infrastructure across 4 provinces in Iran. At least 4 people have been killed and several others have been injured in the rail bridge strikes so far. Railway bridge in Iran's Qazvin, Zanjan, Karaj, and Kashan have been targeted. Iranian authorities say a U.S.-Israeli strike shut down a key highway in northern Iran connecting the city of Tabriz with Tehran. Iran has carried out multiple attacks across West Asia. Riyadh claims 7 ballistic missiles launched towards eastern Saudi Arabia were intercepted overnight, with debris falling in the vicinity of energy facilities. Simultaneously, the UAE and Bahrain reported engaging with Iranian missiles and drones. As fighting rages on, President Trump in his Truth Social post says, and I quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will." U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, on the other hand, is confident of a truce. Speaking from Budapest, he says the plan is working. Vance claims U.S. objectives in the war have largely been achieved.
The president's been very clear about this. There are 2 pathways that this thing is ultimately going to end. First of all, the United States has largely accomplished its military objectives. There are still some things that we'd like to do, for example, an Iranian ability to manufacture weapons that we'd like to do a little bit more work on militarily. But fundamentally, the military objectives of the United States have been completed. So that means, as the president has said, very shortly this war is going to conclude. And I think the nature of the conclusion is ultimately up to the Iranians.
As the deadline nears, Iran says its allies will also close Bab al-Mandeb if the situation gets out of control. Senior Iranian source told Reuters that if U.S. attacks Iran's power plants, the entire region and Saudi Arabia will fall into complete darkness. Remember, Trump's self-imposed deadline on Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz ends at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. Trump has warned that every bridge in Iran will be decimated, further issuing threats to Iran's power plants. He says that the attacks will be carried out over 4 hours.